Today is the day you stop waiting and start building. If you've ever felt that tug, like you're meant for more, but stuck in the starting gate, this is your activation hour. We're not here just to inspire, we're here to help you move right now. Get ready for bold steps, real stories, and exact moves to launch your idea into reality today. Welcome to the True North Club. I'm Sheena of North Kinder. I have my co-host Mishelle Kost, and of course, we have Derek back by popular demand. Welcome, Derek. We're
Hello.
so glad to have you. We've talked a lot about mindset. So, our whole thing is we have clarity over chaos, we have momentum over motivation, and progress over perfection. We've talked a lot about motivation mindset. Mishelle, I've learned so much about you, and just I've unlocked, I feel, some bad mindsets that I've had, even though I feel like, okay, I'm older now. I've done some business. I've been able to unlock some things, but I love how you can kind of get into the psyche. Are you still working on your neuroscience course? Is I said neuro
I
pathways or
you got it close.
neurodivergence?
Yes, my neuroscience course. Yes, I am.
Neuroplasticity. That's what it
Well,
was.
neuroplasticity is a concept in it, but yeah, I am done with that course. I'm now certified as a brain-based coach, and so
Wow,
I am complete. That course
that's
is complete.
awesome.
Obviously, there's so much more to learn. It was a 4-week course, and there is always more to unlock, and that's the beauty of being a human being. We're always growing, we're always learning. There's something new to discover every day. We're not perfect. We're just making progress.
Is there a major takeaway that you could share with us, or would it be hard to kind of condense it into one takeaway? It's probably too hard to condense it, but I'm putting you on the spot.
There's a lot of takeaways, but I feel that I'm walking away with the understanding that we are designed to be in a threat state because we were made to survive, and that was important.
Mhm.
And when we can recognize that, we can change it. And I think that's like the biggest takeaway is that you can reprogram the mind, you can create new pathways, you can change behaviors, change patterns. It takes practice, it takes repetition, but all of that is possible. You just have to work on it. So those would be like if I had to sum it all up, it would just be that.
Derek, you've heard this before too. It's like we're not meant to take risks. Like our brains are meant for safety. Right?
Hmm.
Isn't that isn't
Yeah.
that something that you say, Derek?
Well, I think I learned that in reading Story Brand. Have you read the Story Brand book, Michelle, by Donald Miller?
Yes, yeah,
Okay, so
familiar.
that yeah, so there he talks about in marketing how if you're not quick and it's not really pertinent information to the person who's reading it, they're just going to shove it to the side because our brains are programmed for survival or conserving energy, all those kinds of things, right? So I think
Right.
that's where I've kind of heard this concept. That's where I first heard it. So yeah, for sure.
I love it.
It's
We should
crazy.
have Michelle do a deep dive and do neuroplasticity on you, Derek.
Yeah, exactly.
There could be some
Find out what's
interesting
going on
finds
there.
in there. Yeah, it's like, oh, where did
Yeah.
all those ideas come from? If we're looking at starting a business and I'm going back to like North Kinder and starting, I definitely did not. I grew up like safety. You go to school, you go to university, you get a job, like you get that paycheck, you get a job with a pension, hopefully. But I always felt like there was something more. And Derek, it took you to say, hey, what's the worst that could happen? Like, where is that risk that could happen? Um, and a question that like I hear a lot is what's the real excuse people are hiding behind when they say they're not ready? And like what's the truth that they need to hear instead? Because I know I didn't feel ready. And it took a Derek to kind of kick me off the high diving board and say, jump in, Sheena. Maybe not the high diving board, maybe the little springboard, like the little one, not even the medium one. You kind of just gave me a little shove. So what do you think that is when people say they're not ready? What do they need to hear instead?
Yeah,
Whoever
Michelle, I
wants
want
to
to hear
jump
what you
in.
say first.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if people are saying that they're not ready, I think that that's an incorrect belief. I think we're never ready. I mean, are we ready? What is ready? You're ready enough.
What
You're
is
ready to just
ready?
go
Yes.
for it, right? What is ready? When will you feel ready? And the point is, you may not. And so, if you take the next action, if you just take the next step, you will become ready. The readiness happens in action. And I think we get so paralyzed by the fear, a fear of failing, a fear of doing it
Mhm.
wrong, fear of making the wrong
Yep.
choice, fear of, messing up that we don't take that next step, but that next step gets us to ready. What
Yeah,
would you
For
say, Derek?
I
me,
totally
well,
agree.
for
Oh,
me,
sorry.
I'm gonna interject, Derek. Sorry. For me, you could almost make it be so complicated. Like I'm gonna be ready when I have this, this, and this. And you make this list too perfect that it's never
Right.
attainable. So then it's this
Mhm.
big wall that you could never you could never measure up to. So you will therefore never be ready. So just a list of excuses, really. Um, yeah, I don't know. I had little babies and I had no sleep and I was sitting at my sewing machine for 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours a day some days. But it just I knew that that's what I needed to do. So, yeah,
Yeah, you
that
just took the next step.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
think it's like faith, right? We do our part, God does his part. You always have to kind of step out. And I think the biggest thing is too, Sheena and I have learned is that with some of the new businesses we're starting, you
Hmm.
can't you when it's new to you, you can't you there's no way to know what's going to happen or what all the
Yes.
factors are. So if you don't move
Mhm.
forward in some direction, you don't get the train moving, and then you figure out, oh, we're doing this wrong and we're doing this wrong, so we have to pivot. And then you kind of get to that
Mhm.
place, right? I don't think that, especially nowadays, everything is moving so fast that I don't even know how you could have something be perfect if you wait a year. um, in
Mhm.
one of our businesses, I had a client and they were in like experimental technology, and they built a facility for this new technology. But because things have started to move so fast, that facility within 2 years was outdated already. So it's like
Mhm.
you just kind of almost have to like get as much speed as you can and get as much information, by moving forward, and then pivot as you go, or kind of build it as you go, right? So,
Derek, I have a
Momentum.
sports guy analogy. I just read this again. Wayne Gretzky, he famously said, I didn't skate to where the puck was. I skated to where it was going. So always like looking
Mhm.
forward, looking ahead. And I mean, we love Wayne. We have a major road in our city named after Wayne Gretzky. So
yeah,
I thought you were going to say the quote about missing the shot, like you'll never get the shots you never
that's
take, or
the
whatever
other
that
famous
is,
one. Yeah.
because
You miss
that's also
100% of the shots you don't take. So
exactly that one.
yeah,
Because I mean, you just got to do it.
you just got to do it. I
that
agree.
reminds me, it's so funny. This is a side note, but I remember we had this uh, pastor in one time, like he was like a youth pastor from another church, and he grew up, he was like kind of coming into the NHL just kind of behind Wayne Gretzky when Gretzky was big. And he got the opportunity to meet Wayne Gretzky. And he said, like, he was a goalie. This guy was a goalie. And he said to Wayne Gretzky, he's like, you know what? You're going to be seeing me a lot soon. I'm going to be stopping all your pucks. And like gave him this like big thing. And then he never made the NHL. So I thought,
Did Wayne put in a bad word for
I
him?
don't
Did
know.
he
No, I'm just
sabotage
like,
him?
it is funny though how there's good confidence and maybe not good. That had nothing to do with this story. Anyways, next.
So are you saying that we need to be overly cocky and talk down to people that are
No, I'm
doing
saying
good
that did
things?
not work. That
Yeah, it
and
didn't
it's
work.
just a Wayne Gretzky
You should
story.
have learned from him and been like, Wayne, how do I stop, the pucks that you're shooting? Give me
Yeah,
some
exactly.
insight. Yeah. Not,
Yeah,
I'm gonna take you down, Wayne.
totally.
He's an Edmontonian hero. Um, okay, so Derek, you talk like we have been in starting new businesses and trying different things. How do we test something? Like, how do we know if something is a good idea or a good business to step into? And how do you not get stuck in like overthinking?
I mean, I think right now it's pretty crazy. Okay, so we like to listen also to Daniel Priestley. He's really great, and he talks
Mhm.
about instead of launching a business like a lot of people do, especially people coming to new businesses. He says, I would get a group of like 30, 30 people. If you're thinking whatever business you're going to, you get kind of 30 candidates of who might want your business, and you put out a question to them like, hey, I'm looking at starting this business. Would you be interested? What would you be willing to pay? And basically making sure you're
Mhm.
actually putting out some market research or saying, I have 5 ideas. Here's the 5 things. What would appeal to you? And then pursue that thing that everyone seems to, gravitate toward, or what they said that, they would actually be interested in. Otherwise, it's like you're still building something that you want to build to sell to people, and they're
Yeah.
not necessarily interested, right?
Yeah, no, that's really good advice. With North Kinder, with the clothing side of things, sometimes too, we would do limited drops or we would do special collabs and we'd only have a limited quantity. So that
Mm.
way, if so it's an easier to sell through. So if we're looking at commodities, it can be tough because you're running inventory. You don't want to be sitting on inventory like that's cash on your shelves. So you do those limited drops. But you also want to have available inventory to sell. So I think that that's a good way to test it is do a limited drop. And if you oversell, then you can always produce or you can always go back to those customers and email them and say, "Hey, sorry, we've oversold like because this was so popular." I know Lululemon has done that where I
Oh, they're
purchased
all about
something,
that.
you would know, and it's
That's
like, "Oh, this
that's actually
oversold." I'm like,
that's yeah. The
and I'm like,
strategy is
"Oh,
like to
okay."
have scarcity.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That actually makes it more desirable. If something is sold out, it's all of a sudden, oh, but I actually really want that. I want it even more now that I know it's sold out.
Mhm.
So Lululemon would make not enough on
Yeah.
purpose to drive
yeah,
that urgency. So I think that's a great thing is
Mhm.
don't make enough or just make a little bit. So minimize your risk that you're taking
Yeah.
on and sell out because there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean you failed.
Yeah, and it's a good way to test the market. So if you know that that's a product that works, okay, great. I'm going to use that. I'm going to do it in different colors. Like our hero product was the mama sweater that was, a little bit longer so you could wear it with leggings, covered your butt. It had pockets because every mom needs pockets to hide snacks and treasures and keys and everything like that.
The treasures, the
The
treasures.
treasures. And so once that became our hero product and the thing that people went towards, and I tried different colors and did different, different color arrangements. So those sold out. So yeah, it's a good way to test the market to figure out if there is demand there. Mishelle, because you said you were a merchandising director, is that for 8 years? Is that the right job
Well,
title? Or?
retail
Yeah.
operations. So I was more responsible for selling the product. Once the
Mhm.
product is there, like give it to me and I will sell it and get it to the consumer. That's
Mhm.
my area of
that's
expertise.
awesome.
So did
Mhm.
you have any input on like what customers would want? Like would you get feedback from people that would come into the store
Oh
or
yeah,
purchase online and work with the
absolutely.
teams like that? So how did you
Mhm.
test it with your experience to see what people want, like what they gravitated towards?
Oh, I mean, there'd always in retail, there's always like a hot table or a hot zone somewhere where
Mhm.
no matter what you put on it, things sell, or that's like the first table, just naturally, there's always a set walking path when you go shopping.
Mhm.
So you would put that table there. That table would then be sort of like your hot zone, and you could always test out certain things that you think would be popular on that hot zone to see if people are gravitating towards it, or not. And then you just continue to move things around the store just to see, is it the placement or is it truly that
Okay.
it's not a popular product?
Mhm.
That's cool. That's
So
awesome.
if it doesn't pass the hot zone test, then you have to kind of evaluate
So
from
it's
there.
yeah, it's
You
that same thing.
evaluate from
Test
there.
out, right? Test out
Hmm.
what's going to work. What's before you go make, 20,000 of them.
Right. Or before you go buy 20,000 of them, just see. I mean, how many of these are really do people want?
Yeah,
But that's why a
exactly.
pre-order is such a great step.
Yeah. Well,
I
I
love
can tell a
pre-ordering.
story about something that didn't go very well. And I know we say you should, Derek said, get people together, ask them questions. And one year in particular, I had a lot of customers say, Sheena, you should really do like more prints. Like we want more like kiddish prints. And, that's what I think would be really cool. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna design some prints. So I did, and I put them all over, I think, long sleeve shirts and some like romper onesies. They were my worst selling product
Nobody wanted it.
ever. And I'm like, "Why?" I
I
thought
know.
it was cute, and then I realized I said there's a difference between what people think that they want and what they actually purchase. And really
Mm.
for North Kinder, people just wanted simple basics. Where my brand excelled is we had like the softest fabrics. We have the softest fabrics ever. And so it was more like that neutral for that photo shoot, the base layer. Like people would go and get their crazy print somewhere else and then pair it with just like our black joggers. So they like the simplicity, they like the fabric. It was that like easy go to. So, I made some missteps. What do you do then? You make a good offer. Like I put them on sale. I would do buy one, get one. You got to somehow
Move
clear
it.
that out. And not
Hmm.
every choice you make. And I could have sat on it and been like, oh man, that was so dumb. I'm never going to take a risk again. That's not how it is. And we point back to you got to pivot fast. Okay, you know what? That didn't work. We're going to sell through this. Let's try something else and not get stuck in being like, oh, that was a huge mistake. I'm never going to do that again. So, yeah, it's not always a win, people. And if I hear in the comments, Sheena, bring Prince, I'm sorry, I'm not going to bring you Prince. I just like simplicity. I
Well,
like things that are plain. And so,
But it was
Yeah.
still a win because you had some learnings.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yeah. Expensive.
Learnings.
Expensive.
Expensive learnings, but
Yeah.
still stay in that gain mindset.
Okay,
What do
so
you guys
bringing it back to, are we going to bring it back to kind of, hey, building that or getting started building
Idea to
that thing,
action.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So here's, uh, I have a question for you guys. What's the difference between someone who says, I have an idea and someone who actually gets paid for it? Because we have people approach us, actually, Derek and I, all the time. I have this idea. I have this idea. I really wanted to talk to you guys. You do business, you do apparel. And it's like, okay, uh, let's slow down a little bit. So, what would you find is the difference between idea stage and actually, yeah, making it a profession, something you get paid for?
Go, Michelle.
Oh, I was waiting
Yeah,
for
spit it
you.
out there.
Okay. I
I
can
was like,
go.
that's a good answer. That's a good answer for a question for
If you want
Derek.
to think for a sec, that's all good. No, I just think, there's a lot of people who, again, it's not that it's easy. I actually say a lot of people say, oh, it's easy to come up with an idea and ideas are a dime a dozen. But I actually think it's not that easy. It's
Yeah,
to come up with a good idea. I think people have ideas that are, when they come to us, they're pretty raw ideas. But the thing
yeah,
that we're good at is seeing the pieces of the puzzle and being like, well, if you did this and you did this and you brought in these
yeah.
people, you could really put something together and build it out. And a lot of times you kind of see them go like, oh, like that's too much work, or can you guys just do it? And then I'll just like, you just take my idea and then you do the work.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
take it. Yeah, you take
it's
my
like,
golden
no,
idea. No, no.
it's like, it's awesome to have that idea, but then to like work it out. Cause even one of the businesses we're working on right now, I'm like, there's had to be some major iterations to it because
Yes. Yeah.
it's like it's a
You're
new,
building.
yeah, it's like a new product, it's new technology, and people are still trying to wrap their head around it. So, anyways, sorry, Michelle, you go ahead. You
No,
tell
I
us
was
your
just
thought.
gonna say you're building. I think the big difference between going from idea to action, or why some people just have an idea and don't go anywhere with it,
Hmm.
is probably their belief around it, their conviction around how much they believe in the product or how much they believe in
Hmm.
the mission or the purpose of what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
And then you can carve that path toward it. And even also the difference between someone who has an idea and action really is how powerful their goal is. What's their
right.
goal? What's their goal around
Yeah.
that? And the goal setting aspect of it, I think we minimize that a bit. But I was reading a book, I'm actually still reading, it's really good, The Science of Scaling, and just
Hmm.
talking about how you have to have this really unreasonable, almost impossible goal, which forces you to
Yeah.
stretch and have to become the type of person that can achieve that goal. And when you
Yes.
do that, your brain your brain focuses on that goal, and through selective attention will start seeing things that will lead you to that pathway, which I
Hmm.
thought was mind blowing. Then that's why that goal is so important, to know that, okay, this is the vision of success. We talked about vision before, but just what is that vision for success? And then from there, I can work backwards and map out the steps. But I think
Yeah.
people who are just at idea stage, they don't have a fully flushed out goal, or they don't have that fully flushed out vision yet. So they don't
So,
really know what's next.
what's next? Who wrote that book? I've definitely heard of it.
Ben something.
Benjamin Hardy.
It's on my,
Dr.
yes, Ben
It's
Hardy,
yeah, it's been. So
Dr.
I was
Ben
gonna say,
Hardy.
I've read or I've almost finished 2x, or sorry, 10x
Oh,
is
I was
easier
gonna
than
10x
say
is better
2x.
than
10x is
2x.
easier than
Yes.
2x.
Have
Yes.
you read
Well,
that
and
one?
that's the same person
It's the
who
same for,
wrote
yeah.
the Gap in the Gain
Yeah,
that I've been talking
100%.
about. Yeah.
So I got the audio version, which is crazy because they have the other
That
coach
Yeah.
and
still
Me
counts.
coach.
too.
Still
What's that?
counts. It still
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's no,
counts.
it's amazing because
Audiobooks
they
count.
actually add a bunch of like
Extra
a
content.
podcast into each chapter. But
Yeah.
I remember when I first heard 10x is easier than 2x, and I was like, that is
That's
insane.
next on my list.
It is insane because
It's so good.
it's like
Yeah.
okay, yeah, it's so much harder to think about how to go from, to increase your business by 20%. But what would happen if you had to increase it by 10x? Well, oh, I need a totally different team. I need a
Yeah.
totally different, we're appealing to the wrong market. We're not even doing
Yeah.
things right. And it's like, okay, well, why then why
Why aren't you
grind it
doing
out?
it?
Why
Yeah.
grind that out? Go to the thing, right? So it's crazy. That's awesome.
Derek, there's something that we talk about a lot, and we've said it at length, is I think some people, yeah, like to even think about to 10x or like seems like a insurmountable task. Like, why would I even want to do that? Because it's easier to do a 2x in a way. But yeah, you do have to change your thinking process. Like even the businesses that we're starting now, we wouldn't have been able to do what we're doing now, even 10 years ago. And because we had to again learn those things, become different people, and be like, yeah, of course you can 10x. Well, I'm still trying to convince myself that I can 10x.
You're still
I'm
working on that new pathway.
still
That's
working on
okay.
that. Derek, oftentimes like people say that it's like a pie, like I'm going to get a piece of a pie, and that, you could look at the market. I could have looked at clothing and said, there's so many clothing brands. Like, why would I even get started? Like, it's a competitive space. We know that beauty is a competitive space. So why would I even start any sort of makeup line or anything like that? So would you look at the industry that you're in or any industry and look at it as a pie, or how do we look at it, Derek? I want to share that with people.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is gives credit to Myron because he talks
Mhm.
about man was created in a garden, and a garden, in a garden, there's no pie. There's just a garden, and every, consumption creates production. You eat an apple, you drop the apple seeds on the ground, the apple seeds produce more trees. So the more that is consumed, the more that is produced. And that's really, I think that's the best business or analogy of how the economy works. Because even if you apply it to like, it just kind of coming into my brain right now, like AI, and all the things that are changing and everything, everyone's worried about what AI will do
Yeah.
to jobs. But it's like when the computer came out, I'm sure a lot of people who worked on a typewriter were kind of freaking out, but it's like the computer created a whole new world that is our world today that nobody back then could have even thought about. And
Yeah.
there will be, every time so that's, I mean, or when you build a car, there's consumption that has to happen, but it actually produces jobs for
Mhm.
the workers for the cars, the people who provide the materials, all those different things. So it's getting out of, like Mishelle, you talk about a lot, getting out of that scarcity mindset. Because when you're there in the scarcity
Mhm.
mindset, you're toast. You're not going anywhere. You're not doing
Yeah.
anything. You cannot be creative. It's over. Right.
Mhm.
Sorry, Sheena, what was the other part? There was like three parts
Well,
to that.
because then it also doesn't look at people in the way as I have to compete with other people. It makes you reframe how I'm even going to look at my competitors. How can I work with them? What's a good collaboration? There's
Oh,
someone I follow on Instagram, and she always talks about like strong brands align with other brands that have the same core values. So, like for me, I've done collaborations, but I would collab with the clothing space with someone that did fit my aesthetic, did fit my alignment, had an audience that would speak to them. So it's not that we have to go and fight each other. It's that how do we work together? And it does. When that scarcity mindset goes away, it brings that competition away, and it brings that community, brings that club, how we
yeah.
can work together.
Right. Because
Mhm.
again, okay, so one thing to that is, again, finding someone who has done exactly what you want to do and then connecting with them so that you're not
Mhm.
starting from scratch and have to learn all the same lessons that they already learned. But the other thing was going back to if there's already a lot of products in that space, sometimes that's a good thing because lots of people buy clothes. So if you start a clothing company, you know that people buy clothes. It's just figuring out how you're going to sell that and what's going to differentiate and all that kind of good stuff. But anyways, Michelle, I want to hear what you have to
I
say
was,
about it.
well, I was just going to say it's the differentiating factor. What's going to separate
Yeah.
you from the pack? There's always going to be someone out there doing what you're doing, always. And we still have your own voice, your own purpose, your own mission, your own
Mhm.
values, and all of those things can connect you to a different demographic, a different type of person. And there's plenty of people, there's plenty of us out there consuming, plenty.
Mhm.
There's enough
Yeah.
to go around, and it's being in that mindset that there is enough to go around, and there's enough for what I'm offering to be purchased and bought and to be appreciated. And so you wouldn't, an artist wouldn't stop creating and stop painting just because somebody else is painting a picture. So in that same
Yeah.
way, why would you not go for your business idea? And more importantly, if you believe that this is your purpose, that this is what you were put on this earth to
Yeah.
do, is to share product and share a business idea with the world, if that's the gift, then give it.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's a great question for you.
Yeah.
Here's
Bring
a
it
great
bring
question.
it to us,
Okay,
Derek.
so People like talking about that, just because somebody else, even in art or whatever it is, if I mean, I grew up around some environments where like there is only one person that's the best, and then everybody else is kind of like not good, so there's no point. And I think a lot of people grow up in
Oh,
environments like that or hit into
Mhm.
that exactly what you're talking about. It's like, well, they see someone who's amazing, or they're like, if I can't be as good as that person, then what is the point? Because
oh, I see.
I'm just giving a lesser product, or I'm giving lesser art, or whatever you want to say, right?
Yeah.
Did you have a point?
Well, I
That
just think
seemed a
that
No,
little
that's
my question is
bleak,
what
Derek.
how
Yeah,
what is that
yeah.
mindset? How do you defeat that thing? What is the do you
Well,
have you encountered that?
this is not maybe, psychologically enhanced, but what I would say is, okay, so we kind of revamped our podcast. It's the True North Club. We're doing this. As a consumer, I don't just watch one podcast and only that podcast. I
Mhm.
watch preaching podcasts. There's a podcast I really like, and she talks a lot about pop culture and the royals. I listen to preaching podcasts. Like, I do like to consume different things, even on social media. I like to consume like dancing videos, I think are really fun. Should we do a little trio, guys? I could choreograph something fun. I like comedians. I like fashion. And then I do like to see like business, obviously business podcasts and business things on Instagram. Music. Derek, could you imagine if all you could ever listen to was one musical artist and forever, and that's the only genre?
Yeah,
Sometimes I
totally.
like country. I like Christmas music. Sometimes I like some instrumental. Sometimes
Yeah,
I like some old school 80s rock. Like, I like, we all want something. We want a
yeah.
rom-com.
Switch it
Sometimes we
up.
want a sci-fi, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I think too, we can't just say, someone's really good at that, but we all have different tastes. I don't want to have steak every night. It's great when I have it. I love steak, but sometimes I just want some toast, right? Like, sometimes you just want some different things, and it appeals to that sensibility. So, Derek,
Okay.
we're all the best in our own eyes. God made us the best. We're
Great,
individually
great
the best.
answer. Great
Yeah,
answer.
and I would just say that other mindset I think is there to hold you back, to stop you from sharing
Mhm.
and giving, because there's still something to contribute, even if you're not the best. And the best according to who?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm
Because
sure
you
we could
could
all
be the
say,
best to
yeah.
someone else.
Mhm.
Everybody has, beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
who's to say? Who is out there voting? I mean, obviously I know that there's awards and most popular and all the things that there are out there. I'm not like disregarding that.
Yeah.
And there's like a People's Choice Award, but still there can still be the best to everybody else. I know that there's probably things that I might love that Sheena, you might think is crazy. But to me,
Ooh,
it's like
tell
the
me, do
best
tell.
thing I've ever had. Right? I mean, I know for a fact that I know between Brian and I, my husband, that I probably think something is amazing and he might think I'm crazy. And so again, yeah, there's just who's to say that
Yeah.
you're the best and why can't you go out there and still give your gift and still put out your art and put out your ideas and put out your thing, your contribution
Mhm.
to the world.
Yeah. I love that. Those are awesome answers for sure. Amazing.
I'm sure I actually, the kids have asked me this, especially my son. He's like, "Who is the best singer in the whole world?" I'm like, "Well, there is no," like, I had to say, I'm like, "Well, there is no the
Adele
best."
is the best singer in the world. No, or
What about Celine
what's the other?
Dion?
Ellie Goulding.
Ellie Goulding, I love her.
I like her. I was
Whitney
thinking Garth
Houston, she
Brooks.
was
See,
amazing
look at
back
us.
then.
There
There's
you
Yeah,
go.
already
There you
so
go.
many the
There's a
best.
difference. Yeah.
well, there's different artists I like, but you could never, like, you couldn't say like this one is the
Exactly.
best,
The
right?
best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depends what you're looking for.
Yeah. Although I guess if we're talking about sports, they do always say there is the best.
The
Are
GOAT,
we a
yeah.
Michael Jordan? Are we Kobe Bryant? Are we
Yeah,
um
that's true. Yeah.
what LeBron James?
But also
There
their
are people do,
teammates.
but all those too are all opinionated because you could
Yeah.
Yeah.
hear from
Well,
a different person about who is the best, who is the GOAT.
Yeah. And they
But it
need,
didn't stop
they're
them from playing, didn't stop them
no,
from trying.
so
the other
because I
guys.
couldn't be Wayne, I shouldn't try hockey. Not that I play hockey anyways, right? No, but you still like your
Yeah.
teammates like elevate one another. And I played a lot of volleyball and competitively. Sorry guys, I was not the best. I made really good teams, but I was more of like the supporting actress. I did some good
Yeah.
moves here and there, but I wasn't the star player. but that's okay. That doesn't mean I can't play volleyball,
They
right?
needed
Like,
you. Yeah.
yeah.
It takes
Oh,
a
thanks,
team.
Derek. They needed me. Yeah, that's nice. I think, okay, so people are going to be watching this thinking, like, oh, this all sounds so good. Like, I want to get off the bench, coach. I want to do my thing. Like, what would it look like for a person if they're sitting on this idea or they've been really ruminating about something and they never took any action? Like, could that potentially look for a person? Like, Derek, the risks that we've taken, Mishelle, the risks that we've taken in starting businesses. Like, are you happy that you did that? Like, could you imagine not have taken a risk, not have doing that, like getting off the bench? Maybe we can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Just, I think it's like you got to get off the bench and get in there and just try. And I don't
Mhm,
think I've ever regretted trying. What
mhm,
I do regret is not trying. What
mhm.
I do
Yeah.
regret is sitting back and just watching the moment pass me by. Because everything leads to the next thing or leads to
Yeah.
the next lesson and is a continuous growth path. And we're always expanding and growing and learning.
Mhm.
And that's the beauty and joy of life, I think, and can bring so much energy and
Mhm.
excitement to your life. And so if you don't take that
Mhm.
action, you don't take that step, to me, that feels almost like a disservice to the world
Yeah.
and yourself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up
For
I
that
sure.
quote.
I want to go back to Derek. What you said before is okay. So almost like you're painting a picture that there is an ideal singer or an ideal chef, or there is this ideal out there. That's, and I can never measure up to that, but that's okay. There should be an ideal that we compare ourselves to. There should be like a goal or someone we look up to. And you said before that you should try to connect with people that have done the thing that you're hoping to do or the direction that you're hoping to do. It's almost like a mentorship situation. It's like, oh, well, I want to start a clothing business. I want to be a leadership coach. I want to do construction. I want to do music. Those are all things that we've done. So we would be able to speak to people that are interested in those areas. So it is good to compare yourself to an ideal and not count yourself out because you do need to be working towards something and have that
Have that
picture. So I
goal.
don't, yeah. So I don't think that that's a bad thing to have someone
Yeah.
that's really good because you're like, oh, they're really good. I can be really good too.
It shows you
Yeah.
what's possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally. Totally.
Okay, here's the quote. Are we ready? It's Theodore Roosevelt. How could I forget? It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotion, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his
Mhm.
place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who never know victory nor defeat.
Yeah. That's amazing.
That is
That's
good.
It's
incredible.
just like getting out there and living life. That's the beauty of it. You got to try, fail, get back up, learn, do again. Like that is you living.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Be in that awkward moment. I think people are afraid of it being embarrassed, right? Putting themselves out there, maybe showing a side of them that they're maybe not totally comfortable with. Because again, it's progress over perfection.
Have we have we
Derek, I
talked
know. I was gonna say you definitely
have
have
we
this
talked
story.
okay. Have we told that story last time? Okay, so this is
I
so
don't
funny.
know.
This is so
Derek,
funny.
hey, so Michelle,
Okay.
Derek is famous for liking an awkward moment. Even if
Okay.
he's the one that produces the
No.
awkward moment, we think it's fantastic. We're like, this is amazing. This is so uncomfortable. I love it
But
so
And you
much.
just love it. Okay,
Yeah,
no,
like
we
tell the
enjoy the
story.
uncomfortability of like the awkward moment or, nothing that's
this
like
is the
rude or
story.
offensive. But okay, go ahead, babe.
So speaking of people, like again, everyone's like they're afraid, like they might to start a business or call anybody or do anything. So a couple years ago, remember when the Cybertruck came out?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
No, I
So the
love this.
Cybertruck. So I pre-ordered one, and like I
You did
pre-ordered
not.
the good one, the Cyber Beast.
It
Like
was
I'm like
harder to
this.
get in Canada. So
It
just,
was
yeah,
hard. Yeah,
like,
it was like a big
yeah.
deal in Canada. I'm like, I'm getting this thing. It's gonna be amazing. So I was gonna order it. So I'm like, Sheena, it was like like for in Canadian dollars, it's like $180,000. So I'm like, it's kind of a lot of cash just to be sitting there like doing nothing, like just to drive as an extra vehicle. So I was like, okay, we're gonna make a business out of this. So I'm like, Sheena, you're gonna call local businesses and ask them if they'll do a podcast in the Cybertruck. So they pay to be in the Cybertruck, which is kind of like new and everything, and do this podcast. So Sheena goes and she calls people,
Oh, the
and it was
premise
like,
was comedians in cars getting coffee, like
yeah,
Jerry
kind of like
Seinfeld. They
comedian,
Okay.
drive around.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, okay, it could be like a
right?
cool
We
like
kind of had
Cybertruck.
something. We kind of had something. It is. She calls, and we're like, this is not going to work. I'm like, this is actually we thought about it, like this is going to be so much work for the amount like we would charge for it, and like what it's going to do. I'm like, this is going to be a terrible idea. And so I'm like, Sheena, like, she's like, well, what do you do? I already called all these people. I'm like,
Yeah, I
don't call them
did.
back. I'm like,
I
no,
was,
don't call them back. I'm like, just like it'll be
oh.
like it never happened. It's fine. It'll just they'll forget. It'll be fine. So like
So like,
I'm
did I
saying,
actually get that phone call? Did that girl from
yeah.
North Kinder actually call me? Was that
And I'll tell
Wait,
you
so
what,
people did want to drive
they were
around
kind
in
of
the
interested.
Cybertruck
some
to record
people
their
did?
podcast?
Yes.
They were
Well,
like, oh, a Cybertruck.
yeah, because it was super cool. Like it would have been a
And
unique
yeah,
experience.
and
But I
let me
think
tell
people
you,
more wanted to drive the Cybertruck. I thought that they probably thought that that was
Okay.
part of the
we kind of
podcast.
threw that in maybe, but I'm like, so there was that. And then we went on to another idea. Same
I like
thing. We're
how
like,
you make me do it. You're like, Sheena, call all your contacts. I'm like, oh,
so we did it again on another business. And it was like, it was a no go. It was like not happening. So we had to like bail on that one too. So whenever people are like, they're so scared to even take like a small move, I'm like, we called people and like tried to move this thing forward and it was like not even a great idea. And we just like went for it. So I'm like, if you have an idea, you can actually at least take the risk, right? You know, people have
What's
done
the
way
worst
worse.
that can happen?
Yeah, we
people can
didn't
tell
call
you
it
it's a
back.
terrible idea. And you don't need to stop it. The thing too is maybe there's some insight here. You don't stop at the first person because that first person, they might just not like that idea. You really
Yeah,
do have to ask, what is it, 30 people? Is that the metric, Derek, to see
yeah,
like where it kind of stands, like test it out. So you can't just say, oh, the one person thought my idea was bad. Oh, I guess I'm not going to try. Because people also use that too. They're like, well, I tried. It's like, well, no, you didn't really try. So like again, going back to like people that come and tell us their ideas or their business ideas, it's like, well, does anybody even want your product? Like, did you ever even ask anybody about this? Is that product exist? Because sometimes people too come to us and I'm like, yeah, that's on this website right here. Like someone already sells that exact thing that you thought didn't exist. Like it's been around for a while. So I also think too, if you are approaching people and you want some guidance, maybe just do a little bit more research, like figure out if it exists and don't just ask one person, ask a few. But that made me filter Derek's ideas out a little bit more because if I got to go and make the phone calls, it's an awkward moment for me, and I don't like an awkward moment. Derek, you might like an awkward moment. I
I've
just
done
want
way
to
worse. I've
observe an
done
awkward moment.
this.
I don't want to be the reason there is an awkward moment.
This is
Oh,
the thing though. I do things like, walk into businesses and do cold calls and do all the stuff. So I've taken a lot of I've done so much of it that like I know what that's like. And
Yeah,
it's terrible. But you can kind of get into a groove when you're doing lots of it where you're kind of like, whatever.
because you're
I
not taking it personal.
not take it personally. It's like I
You're
don't,
not making it about you. Right.
yeah. And
The
actually that's
no
it.
doesn't mean no to you, it's no to the idea.
100%. And there's
it's
actually a
not.
guy, there's an older salesman that I have been in touch with. I actually buy products from him. And he goes around and he does like, he just walks into businesses and presents his thing. And he just is like, yeah, he's like, I don't get hurt feelings. He's like, it doesn't matter. Like, he just, and I'm like, that is a great way to look at it. Like, no emotional connection. Just, do you want this? If not, next person, next, right?
Yep.
So
It's a
Derek, what
numbers game at the end of the day.
it is a numbers game. Derek, what's that metric where you try to get, if you're doing sales calls, you try to get 10 no's in a row?
yeah, you
Is
can
that,
make a little game if you have a good product, right?
yeah.
That's got a proven track record. Sometimes it's just, you know, to give yourself like, yeah, I want to get 10 no's in a row. And then if I get a yes, I have to start over again, you
Mhm.
know. But
Because
that's
chances are you're going to get one yes out of the
that
10.
helps you. Yeah, it helps you makes a game like because
I
you got
mean,
to
it's
context.
great practice.
Yeah,
Instead of being like, I have to land this customer, and then it's almost like a pressure sale and it's awkward. It's like
yeah.
either they want it, they don't. If they say no, yeah, that's okay. Okay, two.
Like, you know, it's crazy. The Cardone guys, like Cardone Ventures and Grant Cardone,
Yeah.
his whole team, those guys make like 100. They make their salespeople make like 100 calls a day, and like that is crazy. Like, if you want to talk, yeah, you'll be
Mhm.
successful if you run those kinds of
If
numbers.
you, right, if you're, it's just, yeah, it's just getting the reps in.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mhm.
That is 10xing. So, Derek and Michelle, what do you think about mentorship? Because I follow a lot of top level business people and I watch their podcasts and I see what they're doing. Do they have mentors? Do they do mentorship? Like, how important is that to getting to where you want to go? And Derek just said, hey, we went to a Cardone Ventures, their 10X conference, and we learned about sales, how to present your product. And yeah, they're doing above and beyond even what I thought. And I didn't know that before we went to that conference. So, yeah, what do you think about mentorship? Is it essential or how has
I
it
think
helped you?
it's absolutely essential. I mean, think about the top athletes. They all have a coach.
Mm,
People going to the Olympics, they have a coach, they have a mentor. You're always trying to work on your craft and your skill, but you need that guide on the side to help you see what you can't see. So I
hmm.
think it's really important. I mean, even as a coach needs a coach
Yeah.
to help them and support them in what they're doing. And when I opened up my two restaurants, the first thing I did was hire a consultant because I
Mm,
needed knowledge, I needed support. And so I 100% believe in if you don't know how to do something, if there's something that you can't figure out on your own, absolutely get a coach or get a mentor or a
yeah.
consultant. And even if you do know how to do it, still get a coach because I
Yeah.
think be able to perform at a high level, you
Hmm.
have to have somebody observing and helping you monitor your thinking. We've talked about that before, like how am I thinking about things? Because you
Yeah.
need that person to be that mirror for you. So 100% believe in that.
Or you
I
can get
mean,
stuck doing something because you're like, "Oh yeah, I have to do this." And even though we are all high achievers here, but you do need that someone from the outside looking and being like, "Oh, why are you putting 50% of your time over here? That's not what I would do." And you're like, "Oh, I didn't even realize I was doing that." Like
Exactly.
you almost get stuck into your own routine and your own rhythm and you don't realize your own mistakes. So, Derek, what about you? Like we follow those top people. What do they say about mentorship and business?
yeah, exactly. I mean, you know me, if I could, I'd blow all of our money on coaches. But because I'm like, oh, I want to get this person it. And it's like, that's 40 grand, that's 60, that's 250. It's like,
We
okay,
have no, but we do invest. Like
we invest.
we
Yeah.
go to a lot of business conferences and we do invest in mentorship calls for sure. Okay, sorry, continue on.
Yeah, no, I think a good metric I saw was someone said, you know, recently is very successful that they spend about 10% of their income on mentorships, coaching, etc. And they talked about how, you know, the first thing they ever attended, it was, or first mastermind or first coaching program they ever attended, it was like $5,000. But that program led them to another person, to another person, to another person.
Yeah.
And he basically said that was $4 million in sales from that one thing. And I think you
Mhm.
kind of hear that over and over again. I just heard
Yeah.
another story about a guy who went and spent 25,000. He was at a kind of a coaching mastermind, met another coach there. That coach ended up helping him do $100,000 high ticket offer and close. Then he invested that 100,000 into that coach,
Mhm.
and then eventually 350 into that coach. And then basically he ended up making about $10 million, which started off as a $25,000 seed.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it definitely
Would
works getting the right
people
people.
would they need to start at 25K or are these people that are already in business? What if you just have that business idea? Like what's a good place to start? Actually,
Yeah,
we
I
have a
think,
clarity call where people can they book a clarity call with us and
yeah,
There's
just
the perfect place to
yeah.
start.
no, yeah,
That's what I was
like
going to
and
say. The
that's
clarity call is amazing.
Derek, we've done multiple clarity calls like with social media coaches too. And like I had a full-time social media person for a while and it's just good to figure out, okay, well, where should I dive in or where does that look like? Like, yeah, just to kind of see what their offer is too. And if it makes sense for me to work with them. And it's like a lower risk
Yeah.
if you're just kind of curious too. But
Yeah, no, I think that's a great place to start because again, sometimes when you're in your business, you can only, or looking at that idea, you can only see in front where someone
yeah.
can see around. It doesn't mean that you're less and they're way better
Mhm.
than you. It just means that they've had some experience and they know what to look for. Even the other day, or it was about a couple weeks ago, someone had started a new business and they came up to me and said, hey, they were trying to get business for me because like I'm kind of struggling to get clients. And I said, well, did you talk to that person right there over there? And I'm like, they have all your dream clients. You just have to go ask them to do a partnership. And he was like, oh, I haven't talked to them. So it's just sometimes it's like the simplest little thing from the outside that you could be like, why don't you just connect with
Yeah.
that one person? You'll have lots of leads, right? So
Mhm.
clarity
It's
call.
like building a Lego set, the complicated Star Wars ones without the instructions. It's
Yeah,
not,
exactly.
not you'll build something, but it's not gonna look right. Okay.
Exactly like the picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
There might have some missing pieces. You might have Baby Yoda flying the plane instead of having Mando. Might come out a little janky. I'm just thinking of all the Star Wars Lego that we've built. If we were to start all over again, what's the key piece that you think that would be a good foundation to get going and starting a new business?
Yeah, it would have been getting plugged into some kind of business community. So you get the basics, get the foundations, have someone to ask questions to and bounce things off and
Mhm.
get some help. And the second thing is being plugged into a network, again,
Yeah.
in that industry and just again having that coaching or mentorship and community so that you're not doing it all yourself and
Mhm.
taking all this extra time and spending all this unnecessary extra money to learn what somebody else already knows the answer to.
Well, that is probably what I would say because I had this idea like, oh, it's easy. I can just do it all myself. Well, the mistakes I made cost me. So, whatever, if it was 5 grand or 10 grand for a coach, that coach could have saved me 100 grand
Yeah, for
if I
sure.
aligned with
Exactly.
the right person. So, I think sometimes we're thinking, like, ooh, that's a big ask. Like, how could someone ask that amount? Let me tell you, people, they can save you a lot on making a huge mistake. And then you're in way over your head. So, I mean, thankfully, we did make some financial mistakes, but that's part of business and we've had some great booms, but you can't look at it as like what you're going to spend. It's like what it's going to invest in you and stop you from making those costly mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Michelle?
What do you like? If you were to start all over again, which you did. Are we coming on your 1 year anniversary of like the new thing or the
Of
fresh
starting
thing?
over? Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
am coming up on a 1 year anniversary, but 100% I would say a community. Transformation happens in community. We weren't meant to do
Mhm.
life alone. Connection and
Yeah.
relationships is paramount when you're trying to get something off the ground. You need a hype crew. You need even just a support system. So find
Yeah.
yourself people with that like-minded energy and get connected with that group because you will rise to that level. I've always
Mhm.
heard that you want to hang out with people that are almost as like at that next level of success you're trying
Yeah.
to get to because you're going to learn from them and you're going to naturally move in that direction.
Yeah.
So get plugged in, find the people that you want to be around that have the same mindset, that are going in the direction that you want to go to, that have the same goals, that can support you. And like you
Mhm.
said, Sheena, help save you hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially in making mistakes
Yeah.
that they've already learned. So there's so
Mhm.
much knowledge out there. Just go find your tribe, find your people,
Mhm.
and let them help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Invest in yourself.
If any of this has resonated with you, we have the True North Club that you can sign up to. So if you go to northkinder.com or you go to Northkinder on Instagram, we have a link there for the True North Club. It's free to join and you get these business juggernauts. Derek, Michelle, we're going to bring on some more people into the podcast that have done business and we can learn from them. So, and also mindset. I used to think mindset wasn't a big deal. I know I've said it before, but I've realized mindset is everything.
It's the
And you might not even
foundation.
know it's the foundation. You might not even know you have wrong mindsets that are limiting you. And so you can cap yourself out with your mindset. So if any of this rings true to you, if you feel like, hey, yeah, I do feel that weird stuckness, or I don't want to live the same day over and over and over. I want something different. Join the True North Club. We're here for you. We'll get you unstuck, get you successful, and yeah, off to the races.
Let's
So
go. Right up.
thanks for watching. You can follow again, like I said, North Kinder. You can follow Derek at Derek Steinbrenner and Michelle at the Mish Fit. Yeah, it's MISH. And we are here for you. Thank you for watching.